Welcome to School Zone, the show all about your local school districts here in the White Mountains. I'm your host, John Larsen. Today we have two folks with us. We have Charla Cosgray, who is the Linden Elementary School principal, and we also have Debbie Hall, who is the Whipple Ranch Elementary School principal. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking time to come and see us. Today we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the A+ School of Excellence application process. And then we're going to talk about that as it pertains to Linden. And then we're going to talk about the literacy lab, which you're both working in and working on and associated with. So I appreciate you taking time and being here. Do me a favor, Charla, if you would, introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. Tell us where you went to school, where you came from.
Charla Cosgray. I am the principal at Linden Elementary School. I originally went to school to get my teaching degree through the Prescott College program, and then both of my master's degrees are through the Grand Canyon University.
What are they?
I have a master's in professional learning communities, and then also my principalship.
Oh, good, great. Debbie, tell us about you.
So I went through Charla schools, kindergarten through 12th grade.
You're a native, aren't you, of Charla?
I
Were you
am.
born and raised here, right?
I moved here when I was 4.
Oh, okay.
So, but native of Arizona. And I got my bachelor's at NAU and then went back and got my master's in education leadership, same as Charla at Grand Canyon University. So,
Good.
yeah.
Well, I got my bachelor's in business applied management through Grand Canyon, so
Good
we're
school.
all alumni, yeah. I had a great experience.
Yeah, so did I.
Good. Well, Charla, let's talk first about the A+ School of Excellence. Linden is in the application process right now?
We are. We have about 6 of us who are working on the application. It's quite lengthy.
When you say 6 of you, is that you and staff members?
It's myself and staff members,
Okay.
correct. The application is little short of 50 questions, most of which are narrative. So you have to write paragraphs, and they give you a word limit, which at first we were looking at 1,000 words and we're like, how can we ever hit 1,000 words for this question? And now we're like, oh my gosh, how can we whittle it down to 1,000 words? Because we have a lot to say, and we have to be very careful about making sure it all fits in there.
Sure.
So there's about 6 of us working on it. Luckily, we're able to use Google Docs, so we don't all have to be in the same room to work on it at the same time. We kind of split the questions up, took 2 questions per teacher, and we're working on them separately but together. And then we will come together at the end of June and make sure everything is put together, and then we'll send it out to all of the staff members so everybody can see the answers to the questions, make any suggestions, any edits that they see are appropriate, and then the actual application gets submitted at the end of August.
Okay. What are the requirements? What are they looking for?
So a school has to be either an A or B per the state of Arizona, and the principal has to have been in the school for at least 3 years. So I just finished my 3rd year, going into my 4th. We are currently in A school, so we fit that, and we're going to go for it. We're going to try it.
That's awesome.
It's pretty strenuous, and they're looking for some pretty specific details. I'm not sure if we're completely there yet, but I will say that the process getting up to this point has been pretty great, because we've been able to look at the questions and talk as a whole staff and say, okay, what things do we have in place and what things could we put in place that would make Linden even better? So even if we don't get the A+ status, we've definitely learned from the process.
Good. So when did you start the process? When did the application process start? And
well,
you said you have to have it in by the
end of August. End of August is the deadline. We started looking at the questions during the first semester of this last school year and really kind of brainstorming just as a small group. And then what we decided to do was to take the questions and divvy them up for all of our remaining staff meetings And at each staff meeting, we hit one topic and we talked about it as a staff, and we had somebody taking notes. So the person who's sitting with that question today has all of those notes in front of them and is able to take the consensus from the group and put it into their answer.
Okay. So you turn the application in the end of August. Do they come out and tour your
So
facility?
they will look at the application. They will determine whether or not we pass the application piece. If we do pass that paper piece, then they will set up a visit for sometime after October, between October and February. It's a day-and-a-half visit. They come out, they talk to the parents, they talk to staff, kids, they look at all the programs that we have in place. And basically what they're looking for is what we wrote, does that match what we're actually doing?
What they're going to see?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Well, the thought comes to my mind that regardless of any outcomes, the fact that you're doing this, I feel like, is helping to bring about even more excellence into our school. So
It is.
I'm really glad for that. And
That's absolutely
I'm hoping that doesn't just end in Linden, that it goes through all of our schools here in the district. So.
Right.
So if you are awarded an A+ status, is that a year-long thing that you
So
have, or
you would
what's
the school would remain an A+ School of Excellence for 4 years, and then could reapply after the 4th year.
Great, great. Even if you were to maintain the status that you have for those 4 years, they're going to have you reapply. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's good. That's good. So what part of this application process has been most difficult or time-consuming for you?
The most difficult part was really piecing it out and looking at who should be the person to sit down and answer that question. Once we had all of the answers and all of the data that we needed, you really have to have somebody who understands what does that question really want from the answer. So when you're looking at specifically data, I pulled a person who I know loves charts, loves graphs, loves to pull numbers, and I said, okay, this is definitely your area of expertise. That's something you need to do.
Did you have some staff go, hey, I want that question because I know I can hammer it?
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely, we did.
That's cool.
So I would say that the most difficult piece was really gathering it all and then disseminating it. It was actually quite fun to go through the questions with the whole staff because I learned some things that they saw that I didn't necessarily realize that they were aware of. You know, they were bringing up things that I might do behind the scenes that I didn't do them because I wanted people to know I did them. I just did them because I thought it was the right thing to do. And when they brought it up, it just reiterated to me that, oh, we do see what each other are doing, and we do recognize the effort that is put in.
Good.
So that was pretty cool.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Have you shared with your school population and the parents the fact that your desire and your goal to do
Yes.
this? How have they received that? What's the?
I haven't spoken to anybody who hasn't said, let me know how I can help. We definitely deserve it. This school's excellent. So everybody's super excited about it, and they want to know, you know, how is it going, and where are we, and what they can do to help.
So this will be if you're awarded, even if you aren't awarded, in my opinion, but if you're awarded this status, it'll really be something great to celebrate.
Oh, absolutely.
And do you have any kind of plans to?
You know what? I've just been kind of focusing on getting the application done. A few people have asked that question, and
Are we going to party type thing?
absolutely, we have to party. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
huge celebration, and it's, you know, everybody, the kids, the parents, the staff, the community, everybody needs to be there and celebrate it.
Maybe
That'll-
that's how you can use your $500.
There you go. It's a $500 award and a banner
Oh, nice.
to place on the school. You also earn the right to use the A+ School of Excellence logo. So,
Alongside your own.
yeah,
Good.
exactly.
Good. Well, so when I was going to say if this happens, when this happens, can we get together again and talk about it some more and visit and maybe make that part of the celebration that
Absolutely.
we can
That sounds
get
like a
the
good
info
plan.
out that you that you've been successful. So I'll be excited to hear about that. And I wish you luck. And
Thank you.
and I want you to know I appreciate your efforts there at Linden. I feel like we just have a really great administrative staff, our principals, and we're excelling. And some places we're doing better than others, quicker, whatever. But the fact is that we're excelling, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful for both of you and what you do at your schools. Just want you to know that. So moving on from A+, let's talk about the literacy lab. I'm having a hard time saying that. I might have to go to the literacy lab in order to pronounce it. Tell me what is you're both involved in it. What is the literacy lab, and what's your goals? What's the function for the summer?
So it is kind of a replacement of our current summer school program. Traditionally for K-5, kinder through 5th grade, all 3 elementary schools would work together to provide a summer program for students that were struggling in math and reading. And when we look at our data and we look at our test results, whether it's the tests we take within our own building, if we do it as a district, if it's a state test, what our students seem to struggle with the most is reading. And reading is the foundation for everything, even for math. If you can have a student who can read, they can read what they're being asked to do in math. And so we wanted to we call it the literacy lab because it combines 2 things. As K-5 principals, so Ms. Cosgray, myself, and Mr. Hall, we wanted to, one, provide an opportunity for our students in the summer to get a real intense reading intervention where they were in very small groups. They came for just the first month of the summer, so they still get a little bit of break before school starts. And we also, it's targeted for reading. And we wanted to teach our teachers how to intervene when students are struggling, which is not something you necessarily learn when you go to school. All of us went through our education receiving a bachelor's in education, and you receive coursework on reading instruction and how to plan reading lessons and the elements of literature, but to actually know how to narrow in on a specific skill that a student is lacking and what the primary skill is that you have to build on to be able to teach them when they're struggling to read, is you have to go to additional schooling for that. And we have some great skilled instructional coaches and reading specialists in the district that are utilizing a coursework through the State Department, and they are using that textbook to teach our teachers during the summertime how to intervene with students that are struggling to read. So the literacy lab is actually a lab. Our teachers come in first thing in the morning. They work together for about an hour and a half in this college type setting with 2 reading instructional coaches that are teaching it. And we have 11 teachers every summer we're putting through the program. And then about 2 hours after they start, our buses start rolling in, parents start rolling in with the students that have signed up and their parents have agreed to enroll them in this program because they feel that their student will benefit from it. And the students are in class, in lab with the teachers for 2 hours, where the teacher gets an opportunity to practice skills that they just spent 2 hours learning about, and at nighttime doing their reading and their coursework, different things like that. And while they're in this lab setting working with students, these 2 instructors are going around to see how it's working. After the students leave, they all get back together again for a couple hours of coursework, and they discuss what worked for me, what worked for you. It's a real hands-on opportunity that teachers don't get once they start teaching in the classroom. In my building, there's 24 classrooms, and most of them rarely get the opportunity to leave their room during the day and go in and observe another teacher who's really good at something, unless we set that up. And so it's, even though we're a big school, we kind of operate like 1 classroom schoolhouses. And so this was a chance for our teachers to learn, get together, get feedback from each other, have instructors who actually have experience with reading intervention, and have students they can practice it with So when we start again in August, these teachers don't forget what they learned all summer. They've been practicing it all month long.
Gotcha. Were we strategic in the students we chose?
We were strategic.
Absolutely. So I know we have data points from, it's called Ames Web Plus, and it'll tell you when a student is struggling in reading, and really diagnoses what areas of the reading that they're struggling in. And those were the students that we reached out to and said, hey, Mom, Dad, can we get your kiddo to come to the literacy lab? We'd love to have them participate.
And how was that received by the parents?
Oh, they're ecstatic.
Very well.
Was it really? I would be worried about any kind of negative vibe that might be there. That
I didn't experience that.
That's great.
No.
I'm really glad to hear
In fact,
that.
we had a lot of parents that wanted to come, but their children didn't necessarily need the skill.
Yes.
But a lot of parents with COVID and missing out on a school year last year, and several starting the year without being on campus and learning from home, parents had a lot of fears about gaps that their students were going to have in their learning. And so parents have been asking us since probably November, can I sign up for summer school? Can I sign up for summer school? And for us, summer school is an intervention program. It's an opportunity to close gaps in a very small setting to give those students a little more of what they need when school starts and they're in a bigger group with a mixed group of kids that have a variety of ability levels.
So as you're speaking, I'm thinking in the long term. You know, how long was it going to take your teachers to rotate to get them all experienced in this? 3 years from now, those kids will be in 4, 5, and 6. What are you hoping to accomplish? What are you hoping to see by that point?
Well, we would hope to see when junior high looks at their scores, they're not struggling with reading anymore, because that's really where the struggle has been. Like we talked about earlier, if you have a student who is looking at a math test, which is 95% word problems, if they can do the math, that's great. But if they can't get through the reading part to get to the math, that doesn't help them at all. So the goal is that we kind of dissolve that issue that we've been having with the low reading scores.
And so Linden is a K-5, kinder through 5th grade, and my school is K-2. So we don't receive a label at a K-2 school like a K-5 would, or like Nicholas does as a 3, 4, 5, because state testing for labels and scores does not occur until 3rd grade. But for us, it weighs very heavily on me as a principal of a K-2 school that we're the start of how successful Nicholas can be. You know, your kinder 1st and 2nd grade is the start of how successful her 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade are going to be. And we're funneling all of our students into the junior high, who then funnel all of them into the high school. And we're the 2 schools that it starts at. And so if we can't say that one of our number 1 priorities needs to be to really focus on closing that gap in reading, then it's going to affect all of it. It's like a domino effect, good or bad. And so what I ultimately would like to see with it is, 1, our teachers to have pure confidence in what they're teaching and that they have skills and they know how to do it. They don't have to go out on their own and search for a coursework. They don't have to pay for coursework. This doesn't cost the teachers anything. We are using title funds to pay for it. And all the teachers are actually receiving funds. They're getting paid to come and spend their summer to do this. But for me, a goal would be as if in 5th grade and 6th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade, we see higher scores with our students and more success, and students feeling better about their ability to read. I will feel like we did our part at our level because we're the foundation for it.
So I felt like it's been a long time that we've been trying to figure out how to get better at reading and math. Those were the 2 that we've seemed to have struggled with. And so I see this as a really great opportunity to fix those issues. And at the same time, I see this as an opportunity for the, I'm not sure skill level is the right word, maybe you can help me, but our teachers as a whole, as a group, that we elevate the skill level of our teachers. And both of those, if we can accomplish both of those through this unique opportunity where we really are, we're teaching the teachers who are teaching the kids.
Absolutely.
And so this is really I really see this as a great opportunity and a great program. What's your next step? This is the first year, right? Where do we go from here?
Well,
I assume these teachers are going to continue this on in the school year, the upcoming school year.
So we have some teachers that we know probably won't be able to do it in the summertime. You know, teachers' contracts in at the end of May, and they're free from school responsibility until they return in August. Elementary teachers like to return in July because they have a lot of stuff they need to get ready in their classrooms. But we wanted to give an opportunity for our teachers to not feel like they had to give up a month of their summer. So they do have an opportunity, if they don't want to participate in the lab format, that they can take this exact same course through the Department of Education.
Great.
So Arizona Department of Ed is offering this for any teachers, and our teachers have the option of that. But when you had asked us earlier, you know, how did we kind of get this out to our teachers? We had all of our grade level lead teachers from all the schools come together with all the principals, all the reading instructors, and all of the administrators for K-5. And we kind of just pitched our idea to them. And when we initially pitched it, we said, we've been thinking that maybe if you already have a reading endorsement, you wouldn't need to do this, or maybe if you've already taken this course, you wouldn't need to do it. And one of the teachers raised her hand and she said, who wouldn't want to do this? Why would we want to find any way a teacher wouldn't want to do this? Because don't we all want to be teaching the same way with the same skills and giving every kid the same opportunity? So I would say our next step is we have a survey we'll give the teachers at the end of this summer to ask them our ideas of what could we do to improve, what did you learn, you know, are there any things that we need to look at when we do this again next year, and just have it kind of branch out from there where it becomes more and more successful for not just the students, but is a real teacher-led program.
I was thinking as you were saying that, you know, I know these teachers and I know their hearts, and their hearts are that they would do whatever they could if that had an effect on those children, to help those children to be better and to receive a better education. So that doesn't surprise me that you tell me that. Are you keeping track of the progress? Will each one of these children have, I don't know how you, in their file, I don't know how you put it, but will we know how they're doing? Will we track them?
Will we monitor it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we started, so it's being housed at Whipple Ranch right now, so I probably have a little more exposure than Kevin and Charla do to it, just because I see it every day. But I was just talking to one of the instructors today, and she said they finish the program next week, and she says by the time these students leave next week, we will have every assessment we need to immediately put them into their intervention group on day one of school starting. And usually it takes us a good 3 to 4 weeks of getting all 400 or 500, yes, to get them ready for that intervention. So to know that these 100 students will be ready on day one, to know exactly what skill they're working on, what they mastered, what's the next step for them in where their reading gap is, and have them move right into an intervention group and not lose that first month of school. To me, that's huge. And to see some of those students not need to come next year is another way we'll monitor whether or not they're really showing growth.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the parents will be able to, in the home, continue this over the next, month and a half or so, maybe, month and a half-ish or so, that they'll be out of the program before we start the school year. I really hope that'll be something that parent involvement in their children's education is so huge. I know my wife and I, every day our kids come home and it's, what'd you do at school today? What do you have for homework? Get it out, get it on the table, let's do it. And I hope that's something that these folks being involved in this special program will be able to continue.
I think just the fact that they've committed to having
do
their
it,
kids,
yeah.
to give up a month of their summer
Right.
is a pretty good indicator that those parents are involved in what their students are doing.
I'm glad. When you presented this to teachers, were you strategic in who you chose also, or did you ask for volunteers? How did that work? How did the teachers receive it?
We had made a goal as K-5 principals that we wanted to provide training for every one of our teachers to be instructors in reading, which is a very rare thing for any district to say. Every school usually has 1 or 2 teachers that are very trained, but to have every single teacher in your district, K-3, have the skills to help any student who has gaps in reading is a pretty big thing to boast. So we've given ourselves a goal of 3 years to have all of our teachers trained.
Okay, I was just going to ask how long to rotate.
Yeah, so if we
through this
do
program.
10 to 11 teachers every summer, then we will, within a 3-year period, have all of our teachers trained for it.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys
Yeah.
coming and seeing me today.
Thanks
And
for having
we're going to
us.
visit again about both of these. Hopefully a celebration. And,
gonna be a party.
and we're going to find out some progress.
$500 party.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us here on the School Zone, and we'll see you again soon.